Welcome to r/Malicious Compliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter but not the spirit of a request. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story: shop owner ordered me to repaint the statue or leave. I took my things and left. The second story: boss left us without overtime, so we worked our time and did nothing more. The third story: director put me in front of a choice, and I chose not in his favor. On to the first story. The not-so-friendly local gaming store. Actors: me. Dan, the stressed but good manager. At the time juggling kids, education, and store management. Usually needed 30 hours per day to do all the things he promised he'll do. Oz, the store owner, a massive know-it-all. Background: at the time when this happened, I had been unemployed several years, so when the job center gave the go-ahead for the chance at a government-paid intern spot at the local gaming store, I jumped on it with gusto with the hopes of one day working full-time with my hobby. Act 1. First contact. Monday morning and I was as giddy as can be when I locked up my bike next to the gaming store. Head already filled with ideas about how this was the start of a long and glorious career working with my beloved hobby. Oz quickly greets me, dumps over onboarding responsibility to Dan, and then promptly rushes out to catch a flight to a big board game convention in Germany. After a slightly confused welcome aboard spiel from Dan, he introduces me to the back area consisting of storage, a small office, and an even smaller kitchen. After the 5-cent tour, Dan finds out that the store is out of intern shirts and the store owner hasn't put them on back order. So I'm given a company-branded work shirt with a temporary handwritten badge that says intern pinned to the front pocket as a stopgap solution and told what's expected of me. This includes sweeping and dusting the store every morning, restock the shelves, assist customers, and if all those have been checked off, paint the store's supply of loaner wargaming terrain. This will be important later. Act 2. The troubles begin. 1 week later. Oz, what do you think you're doing? That area is employees only. I look up from behind the counter where he's been helping Dan tally boxes of 100+ mixed dice to see Oz march up to the counter, finger pointing square at me and looking like I just killed his pet hamster in front of him. Me, I'm helping the manager tally these dice so he… Oz, I said employees only. You're not an employee. Me, okay. Hey Dan, can I take these boxes over to the Magic the Gathering table and tally them there? Dan, sure. Oz, no, you cannot. Those dice are to be kept behind the counter at all times. Not wanting to make a fuss and maybe ruin my hopes of working with my hobby, I put the dice boxes back in order and steps out from behind the counter. Me, how about I restock the shelves with the new games we have in the back room? Oz, the back room is employees only. As well, you can't be in there without supervision. Me, I'm guessing you don't have time to supervise me while I get the things I need? Oz, no, I don't. I'm meeting the guy setting up the web store, so I have better things to do than watch you haul boxes around. Dejected, I pick up a broom and decide to sweep the floor for the 5th time that day. The web store was, according to a conversation between Oz and Dan I overheard, going to be the come-all, end-all solution that would multiply the amount of customers for the store in no time flat. Oz had hired a guy part-time to set it up recently, so I scratched his behavior up to stress and moved on with my day. Fast forward 3 days. Oz, you can't wear that. Those shirts are for employees only. Go change right this instant. I looked up from scrubbing off a stubborn coffee ring from one of the tables reserved for the upcoming Magic the Gathering tournament later that day, and noticed that Oz was pointing at me and fuming with barely concealed anger. Me, I was told by Dan to wear this so customers know I'm an intern. Oz, I don't care. Those shirts are for employees only, and you're not an employee. Go change. 1 quick shirt change later and I'm now using my regular short-sleeve summer shirt, with no sign or branding to differentiate me from a generic customer's work shirt. Act 3. The end. Oz, I've gotten a lot of complaints about you from customers lately. They say you aren't professional enough. I don't want you to handle customer service anymore. For the record, this is complete BS. I know somewhere around 80% of all the people that shop at the gaming store from a local wargaming club, and no one said anything to me about my behavior at the store, either during or after this. Me, okay, so what do you want me to do instead? Oz, I don't know. Find something to do. You know what's expected of you. Let's see. Store is cleaned and dusted, floors swept, can't restock shelves, can't handle customer service, can't loiter behind the counter to learn the register. What else is there? Oh, right, painting terrain. Here's where the malicious compliance comes into play. I grabbed some boxes of dull sprue gray terrain pieces. and the big box of paint pots and sprays. Usually it would take about 45-ish minutes to paint each piece to what is referred to as tabletop standard. A few quick coats of paint, a slather of wash to get depth, and a quick dry brushing to pop what details there are. But this won't do it all. This store needs to have the best painted terrain it can possibly have. Paints are prepared, reference photos researched at great length, and every minuscule piece of mold line scoured away like it's an affront to nature itself. Now, just the prep work for each piece runs up to 40 minutes without even the first layer of paint having been applied yet. I carefully thin each layer of paint to nearly the consistency of pure water and apply each layer with utmost care before letting each piece dry for 20 minutes before applying the next layer of ultra-thin paint. Every single detail on the terrain pieces are given the full competition winner treatment. This goes on for a week, customers or no customers. My days now consist of sweeping and dusting the store, then bringing out the big box of terrain and paints. Paint 2 or 3 terrain pieces for 7 hours, then clock out and go home. All the while, Dan is overworked to the point of near nervous breakdown, and Oz is ranting about customers being neglected and that nothing is getting done without him. Fast forward a day or so, and by lunchtime I've just finished up a statue terrain piece that now looks like it could step off the board by itself. Oz, that won't do. Redo that statue. Me, why? Oz, it doesn't match the style of the other pieces. Me, you never said anything about what quality you wanted the terrain pieces painted in, so I figured I'd do my best. Oz, I don't care. Either redo it to match the rest or get out. This is new. Oz hasn't complained about any of the other pieces that I painted in the same style. Well, enough is enough. Instead of my usual grin and bear it stoicism, I get up, carefully put the paint pots back in order and start putting away the terrain pieces. Oz, what are you doing? Me, putting back everything where it should be. Oz, I told you to repaint the statue, not put everything back. Me, you told me to redo it or get out. I'm doing that. I quit. Fast forward to current day. Dan has quit working at the gaming store. The web store is a broken piece of crap that only barely does the minimum required, and the physical store was limping along on life support, even before the pandemic hit. From what I heard from Dan last time I spoke to him, a lot of wargamers stopped coming to the store to play because they thought the majority of the old terrain pieces looked like SH and figured they could do better themselves by pooling resources and setting up a gaming club. 1. Closest I can relate to it in US terms. Essentially, the company agrees to give you work experience, and the government-run job center pays you a small wage instead of the business taking the financial hit. As a GPI, you can only work certain hours and can't sub in for actual employees, but are usually treated as employees in all other ways. At the end of the intern period, usually 3 to 6 months, it's seen as good form that the company hires you, unless you did something monumentally bad and or stupid during the intern period. The next story is, stay until everything is done, but absolutely no overtime under any circumstances. Worked for grocery chain a long time ago. Did third shift stock stuff. Eventually did some management stuff. Company was/is a nepotistic cluster F. Bunch of entitled peas with the same last name born into positions they know nothing about, trying to squeeze more pennies from anywhere they can. In the decade or so that I was on nights, full-time positions completely disappeared, and department management positions were downgraded to head clerk positions. Things consistently got worse, but more effort was expected. Anytime an achievement was made, it became the new standard. Eventually, you ended up with a few dedicated guys with good work ethics and a large portion of endlessly rotating SH bags. The company put out a set of standards by which we were all supposed to operate. X items per hour, X sections per night, etc. The dedicated guys would consistently overproduce. The SH bags would do bare minimum. From daytime management's perspective, everything needed to be completed at night, even though the company's standard sheet gave different responsibilities to day crew and night crew. On the night crew, we were aware that we were understaffed, and the day crew was overstaffed. The day crew guys knew it too. It was even a running joke. Push came to shove, and eventually the expectation became more than we could accomplish with the given resources. Dependable guys were given some overtime to finish up when necessary. Thanksgiving week, the volume of work was doubled, and the staffing stayed exactly the same. We busted RAs to get done with as much as we could, but double work is double work, and it was physically impossible. We left simpler things. Read their own effing job for the day crew. Day crew handled it. They knew the deal, no thing. One of the piece of SH nephews of the company founder came in one morning demanding to know why some things weren't done yet. Store manager blamed night crew. New rule in play. No one leaves until everything's done. Well, okay. Keep good guys, keep SH bags staying a couple hours late every day to deal with volume for holiday. End of November numbers come out. Highest overtime amount in the chain that month. New policy. No overtime under any circumstances. Well, okay. We work hard, sweat all night, often skip breaks to get it done so we don't have to hear about it. Goes fine for a couple of weeks, then Christmas week comes. Double the usual volume again, same size crew. Keep guys until the job is done, but cut them loose the moment they reach 35 hours, because stay till done but no overtime. End of Christmas week comes. F-ton left to do, but no one has any hours to spare. So I wait for day manager, explain what's left, hand him the keys and just leave. Apparently this is also unacceptable. Stores trying to call me, district manager trying to call me, department manager trying to call me. F off, I'm off the clock. Got called in for a meeting on next day off. Made sure it was paid time. A-hat company Nephew F demands, unfocus my chi, how is it that you can sleep when you walk out of here leaving this place in the state that you do? Handed him the night crew schedule, the shipment volume counts, and the company's standard papers. Both were clipped to a corkboard right next to me. He plugged the numbers into the calculator. Turns out that even with the SH bags, my crew is over 300% efficient according to company rules, every day. He asks for the day crew schedule. Other management in the office begins to visibly squirm and preemptively make excuses. I see, he says. He starts to put their fingers into the calculator. Comes back 25% efficient on their best day for the past 2 weeks. B Nephew looks at store and department management. So the problem here is obviously happening during the day under your nose, not at night under his. So, are you done with me? Yes, thank you. Go back home and have some apparently well-deserved beers. So I did, and I called the good dedicated guys and had them, the ones who could make it, over to tell them the story over some well-deserved beers. Not much changed for us afterwards, but there was no threat left in day management's bark. The last story is... Choose? You betcha. Some years ago, we see my sorry self desperate for cash and slowly dying at my full-time job. I receive the kindness of a stranger and get a referral for the national big box of everyone's favorite blue-vested neighbor. I land feet first in the cafe and start running. At one point, I was blessed with working part-time there and full-time at my original job, and still volunteering at a local attraction. So much fun there. Not once did my fine fellows at my full-time ask me to sacrifice my fun for them, going as far as being awestruck by my commitment. However, I did sacrifice some of my hours and fun on the altar of my part-time for the summer. Well, my volunteering had the best after-hours event of the year coming up, and yours truly was trapped on closing shift for my part-time. I politely and regretfully afterwards asked to flip to openings so I could have some time to decompress at the volunteering after slaving away. Mind you, I was asking plenty of time ahead of schedule, and only for that event, so no hard feelings would be had. The boss says in clear, concise words, we should not have to accommodate you any more than we have, since you're only part-time on weekends. You need to choose between your 2 jobs and your volunteering. If I was you, I'd drop the volunteering since you're not getting any pay. WTF? Pardon my horrible language. You want me to choose? Fine, enjoy the fallout. I choose my volunteering and full-time job. They never asked me to choose. They never said to drop what amounts to a passion for me. Yeah, I was a tad bit angry. Okay, a lot of angry. Very next day, I sauntered up to another boss-type person and turned in my notice. Said I couldn't accommodate their workload, yada yada blah blah blah. Blatant stupidity doesn't really make a good excuse. I let them have the rest of their schedule to give them time for new hire. I'm nice enough for that. Any other scheduling they tried on me, I said nope, no way, no how. I'm very out. In the end, I was just gobsmacked by this, since they toot their horns about all the hours their own put into volunteering. Guess if you're not doing it for the company, it's in no way important enough to warrant flexibility. Whatever, you colossal jerks. I just wanted my time to be done, and they did get an earful when they tried to schedule me afterwards. Believe me, I was not a slacker there at all, and no, they didn't find a new hire to replace me before I was out. I hope you love these stories. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know when the new video comes out.